Indian Scott digging through the past. Crazy tales they uncover fast. History stranger than you think. They'll also talk about wieners in a blink. They'll talk about wieners in a blink. Oddball History.
Boom, 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 boom.
How.
Boom. Welcome to this week's episode of Oddball History.
Welcome.
I think you'll notice a change of scenery.
That's right.
Yep. I currently reside in an Airbnb. We typically film this at my house.
Yeah. Jimmy blew up his house while trying to soup up his toaster.
Yep.
Like Tim the Toolman Taylor.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah. Art imitates life, imitates art, you know?
It's beautiful, really. Yeah, but we had to move out, had some water damage, and now we don't live there for a few months. So that's fun. Good times. You can't tell this is an Airbnb. By the howdy, y'all.
Howdy, y'all.
Howdy, y'all.
So if you forget that we're in Texas,
right here, baby.
You simply look up and you see the howdy, y'all.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, that's right.
You're
That's
like,
right.
oh, right.
There's cow paintings on the walls. It's it's a motif, and I'm into it.
There's
It's nice.
Cowhide rug.
Cowhide rug.
Very
We're doing
Western.
it. I like it. I like the howdy, y'all. It's definitely like a Gen Z Texas live, laugh, love.
Yeah.
It's got those vibes.
Yeah, definitely. There's a little wink in there.
Oh, yeah. Like I'm in on the joke, but I like it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We're having fun. We know about our reputation with the cows.
Yeah.
And so
and
forth.
the boys, the cowboys.
The cowboys.
Yes. I think I've already talked about how I feel like that's a disrespectful name.
Cowboys.
Cowboy.
Yeah.
It's like, where's the boy with the cows?
Yeah.
It seems dismissive of what a cowboy does.
Yeah, I'm with you
Like
there.
a ranch hand.
Yeah.
That's respectful.
Yeah, I've never really stopped and thought about it, but it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good. It sounds dismissive.
It is dismissive. But yeah, so this week on Oddball History, we are doing Animal Researchers Gone Wild.
Oh, yeah.
Gone Wild.
They, animal researchers love to go wild from time to time.
Yeah.
Be it just testing out hairsprays or, launching animals into space.
Yes.
We're always finding crazy shit to do.
We're going to give a lot of things acid. We're going to jerk off a dolphin. There's a lot of adventures we're about to go on.
Yeah, it's just the world of science. It's just it's always fascinating.
We're going to dip a few times into the 60s when they just started giving acid to everything.
Yeah, they were like, whoa, this is awesome. We got to give this
We got to see what's going on.
Yeah.
But first, as always, the top comments.
Welcome to the top comments with Oddball History. Today we're diving into the world of animal research. Get ready for some laughs with our top AI jokes. Let's start with a classic knock-knock joke. Knock knock. Who's there? Lettuce. Lettuce who? Let us in, it's freezing out here. This timeless format never fails to bring a smile. It's a simple setup with a playful punchline that has entertained people for generations. Finally, let's explore a joke about animal experiments. Why did the scientists talk to the chicken? They wanted to conduct a fowl experiment. This joke plays on the word fowl, a pun that adds a humorous twist to the serious world of scientific experiments. Thanks for joining us on this humorous journey. Enjoy the podcast.
But so our first, my favorite comment was from Velvet Spectre, Lindsay, a longtime listener. And she was talking about Elvis. She said a lot of things, but then she goes, that was his code word. The only place to get it at the same time as a few towns over. And she's talking about him liking underage women. And she goes, send his toilet ghost right to jail.
Yeah. I love Toilet Ghost. Toilet Ghost is great.
I really appreciated Toilet Ghost.
Yeah.
So I thought it deserved a shout out.
And a great thought. Just imagine if the realm you haunted was a toilet. Not like a house, but you just haunted a specific toilet.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. That would suck when they do a remodel. How many ghosts are at landfills just for like houses being destroyed?
Oh, so many ghosts. Nobody ever talks about those ghosts.
Just like, shit.
Because they smell. If the ghost hunters guys were really about it, they'd just be out there digging through the dump every episode.
Just like they're out here.
But they're not.
They're not
about that dirty job life.
Yeah. I still love, we've talked about it like 3 times. I love that you did a ghost hunter thing.
Me too.
I also
I think about it all the time.
I also hate that it'll never see the light of day.
Yeah, I want it to so bad. I really want it to. It was
Did you just get
if
it?
I
That
Miyagi that shit on camera,
would be a great podcast.
we can just end the podcast. We can just call it.
We're hanging it up.
We're gonna win all the awards for that episode.
We're gonna get a Webby.
I don't understand again podcast if they do them by the episode, but if they were,
So you think about your ghost hunting thing a lot. Oh,
yeah,
our buddies Parker Slavin and Paul Smith did it,
yeah,
and from the get-go,
it's a good premise.
they bit off more than they could chew.
It was very pro in a way that I wasn't expecting.
It had a lot of lofty goals, and it's like, y'all are making a TV show.
Yeah,
Let's just make this some clippies, some sketchies, you know?
Yeah.
Let's make this more manageable.
yep.
And then it rattled off, and they never...
They should. They should just, I don't know how they want to release it, but they should release it. It's a great premise. I've done it on, I've told a story on stage about the guy. I think I told it on the podcast about the guy with the holy water.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, well, of course we need the holy water. And then he's like, by the way, if you need more of that holy water, I just get it from Amazon. We were like,
Come on.
oh, we don't feel very protected from
Yeah.
demons. I told that story
It's
once.
called
but when you-
Ozarka.
it's called, yes, it is. That is the finest Texas
Yes.
spring water. Howdy, y'all. But yeah, I did
For
that.
every Texas reference from here on out, we just have to go, howdy, y'all.
And I think we should edit in a bunch of Texas sound effects, like
Yeah.
a whip cracking and a yow, like
Okay.
just throughout the episode.
Just
Not
every
really,
time-
no rhyme or reason. to
Every
it.
time howdy, y'all is referenced or said, there will be a whip crack. But and then we had that another Rommel clip, and it was about how he sent POWs.
People cannot get enough of Rommel.
I do think it is World War II is like the most popular history.
Yeah,
from
for
a modern,
sure.
like Rome and World War II.
Yeah.
And so if you put a clip out about one of those two things, there's going to be a large population that knows it already.
Yeah.
So you got to be on your P's and Q's.
Yeah, it's like Elvis.
Yes, exactly.
They get very...
But it was about how he sent POWs to clear minefields. And
All
somebody
right.
just commented, someone got to clear them mines. Which reminded me of the Simpsons episode
Fair point.
where
Yeah.
Lisa dates Nelson.
Yeah, fantastic episode.
And he has nuke the whales. And she goes, why do you have a nuke the whale sign? And he goes, somebody's got to nuke them.
Yeah, gotta nuke something.
Got to nuke something. But then, let's see. Then we have, this was from the Shrek clip.
Oh, yeah.
How on dating shows they always use the onion speech.
Yeah, and we did not include examples. That was a very... People were upset. But I gotta say, there is no way in hell I'm going back and watching the Drek dating shows
No.
that I watch again. I love them, but
One
they are a
time.
one-time...
Yes.
They are not it's not a thing. Where
Yeah.
It's,
Like, ooh, you got to
it's
watch
fun
it.
for...
Once you watch it the third time, you really start getting the subtleties
Yeah.
of Love is Blind.
Not a lot
you
of
know?
Easter eggs in the ultimatum.
Yeah. But somebody goes about the onion thing. It's originally from the books of Terry Pratchett, mate. Which he said mate, so he's probably right because he's British.
Or Australian.
Or that's true.
Or Scottish or Irish.
All right. And then somebody commented.
Somewhere from the Commonwealth. Isn't
Yes.
that what the Commonwealth?
I think it is in all the British places.
I don't know.
The sun never shine. The sun never sets. Not to be a nerd, but actually it's from Altman and Taylor's social penetration theory, which uses an onion as a model.
Sure.
Now, I feel like we're goofing off now.
I feel like, yeah.
That one felt like a goof off.
Yeah. I don't know. Was Shrek thinking about that when he said it, you know?
And then the next one was, no,
Maybe
actually,
he was.
I think the Norwegian author Henrik Ibsen used it first in his play Peer Gynt, was made in like 1850. And then somebody goes, Shrek said this in like the 15th century. Checkmate. But yeah, and then we got the so no clip for examples. I got to do everything myself.
Exactly. Yes, you do.
And then you should have at least showed us 10 examples because I don't believe you.
10 examples is
That's
crazy
a lot.
too. I don't even know if I'm up to have seen. I think I've seen this happen like probably 8 or 9 times, but it's enough times where I'm like, Jesus, it's all of their reference point for
Yeah.
emotions.
Shrek, which is a good one.
Shrek.
It's a very heartfelt
And
movie.
look, yeah, I'm not besmirching Shrek. I love Shrek, you know?
And
Who
no
doesn't?
examples to back up your claims.
Hey, how about
Lame.
this? Hey, do you think Lord Farquaad had to register as a Shrek's offender?
Yes.
And just for the purpose of that joke, I'm imagining that there was another ogre named Shrek who Lord Farquaad had problems with before the events of the movie Shrek.
Yeah. He's a habitual offender.
Yeah, a Shrek's offender. He has to go around the neighborhood and tell everyone that he's a Shrek.
He's a Shrek's offender. Yeah.
That was his name, right? Lord Farquaad?
Yeah. The little guy.
Oh, that guy.
I just really enjoyed that people were like it's a scholarly article.
Yes.
Us talking shit about an Onion speech with reality TV.
Yes.
And like, back up your claims.
It was really funny. That was one too that I really wasn't expecting to do that well.
Yeah.
Even in the first place. So for them to have like a lively
Little
this is
banter
what
about it.
Shrek was talking about.
Yeah.
Give us examples.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I'm not going to give you the examples, but I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for playing.
I understand why you would want examples and be frustrated by the lack of examples. I'm just not going to go back and get the examples.
It's been the past.
Those shows are gross.
It's about looking towards the future, everybody. Okay.
Exactly.
All we can do is be better.
Yeah, that's why we eat pork on New Year's, we learned, because they're always facing forward. The pigs. Did we learn that on the New Year's episode? Did we talk about that?
We talked.
I think I read it. We just
We never got around to that point.
just making up shit. Like, it was in the last episode.
I appreciate that as like a Scott's Corner where you just reference things.
I'm like, we talked about
It's just loose thoughts you've had periodically.
sure.
It's like kind of how the closing statements have turned into. What's bounced around Scott's head?
Yep.
Okay, but so now today we will start the Animal Researchers Gone Wild. I wanted to start
So
with the
wild.
Cool Rats Prefer Jazz.
Oh, I loved this one. A very controversial study in 2011, Albany Medical College,
Yes.
which does not sound like. I mean, I get it's a real college, but it sounded made up when I first read it. Albany Medical College. That sounds like where Dr. Nick went. You know, Hollywood Upstairs Medical College.
Yeah.
But
They were trying to see if they could condition rats to like certain musics.
yeah, they were like seeing if they could make rats cool, kind of.
Yeah.
It was like a high school movie where they were seeing if they could turn nerdy rats into cool rats by prom.
At the beginning, all these rats had ponytails and glasses, like
Yeah.
imbeciles.
Covered in paint.
Oh,
shout
gross.
out! Not Another Teen Movie. What a masterpiece.
Yes.
But
We watched Not Another Scary Movie the other day. Excellent.
Is that the new
No.
scary movie?
I could be. Is Not Another Teen Movie.
Not Another Teen Movie is the one with Chris Evans.
Okay, I'm thinking Not Another Scary. Or was it just Scary Movie? Were
I
those
think it's
silly
Scary
enough?
Movie. I think Scary Movie. Not Another Teen
Where the
Movie
Wayans
was
brothers
the
are
only
in it?
one. Yeah,
Okay, that was your Scary Movie?
yeah. I think
Okay.
those were Scary Movies.
Yeah. Well, I'm an idiot, but we
I never
watched one
got
of
us
those.
into those.
They're very funny.
I loved Not Another Teen Movie though.
But so they were. This was all taxpayer funded too.
Sure.
Which the goal was they found that rats, when exposed to Beethoven and Miles Davis, they preferred Beethoven.
Yeah, and they preferred silence to
They preferred
everything.
silence to either
They
one.
weren't really feeling either one. But like I said, if you got to play something, give me
Do
the
the
Beethoven.
Beethoven. And then the wrinkle in the experiment was then they would give the rats cocaine, and magically the rats preferred Miles Davis.
Yeah, they would give the rats cocaine while playing the rats Miles Davis, and then they continued to prefer Miles Davis even after the drugs had left their system. So like they had a fun memory associated with Miles Davis and doing coke, and so from then on,
Which sadly, Miles Davis also preferred Miles Davis while on drugs.
hell yeah,
Famously, what led to his demise.
yeah. But man, what a cool motherfucker.
This is one of those experiments where it was like spend millions of dollars to say like why you like music when you're a teenager.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, you associate things with memories while those things happened.
yes, and
We
like
proved it, everyone.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Like, I really like My Chemical Romance because I was 15 when I heard it first.
Yeah,
And it still rules.
yeah, it's really funny that they did this because, like, okay, so rats associate music with drugs? Like, it really doesn't. I don't know that there's any point to it.
I think it was you can change your preferences based off of memory of positive drug experiences.
Nice.
So it's like rats that were given ecstasy prefer techno music.
Oh, of course.
And then rats.
Tiesto. DJ Snake.
David Guetta.
They're going to Paris and going to one of those EDM festivals.
Yeah, of course. Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
That's one of them. One of those.
I ran into one of those I was at Texas Live once, and there was like a rave going on the other side of Texas Live. That's a weird, it's really
smashing
weird
up
for
of
a
society
mix to be part rave crowd and part non-rave crowd.
Just Rangers fans.
Yeah.
Big baseball guys.
Just big fat mustached men with Pudge Rodriguez jerseys, and then tiny girls covered in glitter with their asses out and giant fur boots.
I can't imagine they're ever not welcome anywhere, though.
No. Yeah. Why would you not welcome a rave?
And then in another twist of fate, they found that rats given Coors Light preferred David Allen Coe.
Oh, I saw David Allen Coe at the Willie Nelson picnic once.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm.
Did he play any of the Secret album?
Oh, no. Oh, no. No, he had Larry the Cable Guy, though, come and do the verse on You Never Even Call Me By My Name about the greatest country and western song.
What a nice little Easter egg.
Howdy, y'all.
What a nice little Easter egg of You Never Call Me By My Name. And Larry the Cable Guy is never called by his name, Dane Whitney.
That's so true. That's so true. I remember they called him that on a roast once, and I had not heard it to that point. It took me a second. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I was young enough that I didn't know.
Those were my favorite stories of like guys that do characters and it just sticks with them forever.
Yeah.
Like Larry the Cable Guy, comedian. He's from like Michigan, doesn't have a thick Southern accent. But he did a character, Larry the Cable Guy, and found that was doing better than the rest of the set. And was just like,
I'll just be this guy, I guess.
But he's still like a dude where Andrew Dice Clay also did the same thing. He was a stand-up who did multiple characters. One of his characters was the Dice Man. And so it went good. And he was just like, I'm just going to become this guy.
Yeah.
And from people that have hung out with him, like off stage, he's just like, I am now the Dice Man.
That's crazy.
And fast forward 50 years, and he's
the fingerless gloves have fused onto his skin.
That's his weird superpower.
Cool squirrel, by the way. You guys can't. That's it has a nut in its mouth. Just
yeah. Howdy, y'all. Howdy, y'all. But yeah, that was the first one I thought was silly.
Yeah, that's a good time.
And then they had one where this one was sad because they kill an elephant.
Yeah, they're always killing elephants.
They're always killing elephants. Tusco was his name.
Yeah, Tusco. What a great name for an elephant, too.
Yeah, I know, right? Very nail on the head.
Unfortunately, that is as feel good as this story is going to get. The elephant's name being Tusco.
Yeah, and so
1962, University of Oklahoma, Boomer Sooner.
Boomer Sooner.
And just kidding. Howdy, y'all.
How do you get an OU grad off your porch?
How?
You pay him for his pizza. Howdy, y'all.
Howdy, y'all. Boom. Howdy, y'all. Bomb. Yeah. Dr. Jolly West. How great of a name is that?
Great name.
Dr. Jolly West and two colleagues. And there were rumors that Jolly West himself was on LSD a lot around this time. It is 1962.
Yeah, and this is called Elephants on Acid, not to be confused with the 2018 Cypress Hill album.
Yeah, different.
Of the same name.
Different thing.
Didn't know Cypress Hill was still doing it.
But shout out Cypress Hill. I remember Cypress Hill had I thought they were totally gone. And then they, when I was in high school, they came out with a new song. And I was like, I guess not. And then I was reminded just yesterday that Be Real was on the song Hit 'Em High, Hit 'Em Low from the Space Jam soundtrack.
There we go.
An all-time banger.
I do like when you have an old artist that you listen to in high school or something, and you go back and find a song, and on Spotify you look at their discography, and you found out that they never quit, and they've released 14 more albums.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, there they are.
Hell
I saw that with the Toadies.
Oh yeah,
the Toadies put out some music.
Yeah,
I listened to a couple songs and was just like, I think I'll listen to the 3 I like.
Yeah.
Like I respect the fact they're out there doing it.
Yeah.
The lead singer comes to Hyenas pretty regularly.
Yeah.
But, hey, keep at it, guys.
But you're not that worried about seeing him.
No, I'm not.
And him having heard this.
No.
All right, good.
Are you worried?
A little now.
Yeah.
Vaden Lewis of the Toadies. He's a powerful man. No, he might be a powerful man. I don't know.
As far as the local podcast scene is concerned, the Toadies will tear you down.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm a little offended. He's never been at a show that I've done.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone has done a show that he's been at except me. It's like meeting Dirk Nowitzki. I feel like everybody in Dallas has met Dirk Nowitzki except
I've never met him.
Very bitter about it. Howdy, y'all.
Same.
I'm glad you've never met him, though. Nothing against you. I hope you do get to meet him.
Thank you very much.
But
just a giant German walking around.
Just a giant, lovable German walking around.
Yeah. Good dude.
Our beloved tall baller from the G.
But so they had an obsession at this time of giving animals LSD.
Yeah.
Like
it's the hottest craze. It was hot
craze.
pants and giving LSD to animals.
And so they were like, we're just going to see what happens when you give an elephant LSD. Mm-hmm. And the stated purpose of it was kind of like, I don't know.
We think it'll get real pissed off.
Oh yeah, they were trying to see if it would
Must apparently is a state elephants go into where a lot of testosterone is produced and they're really aggressive and trumpeting around and stomping a lot.
Creamy secretion. You always hate reading secretion.
Minus the creamy secretion. It sounds a lot like Wolverine going in berserk mode.
But they get very angry. So the whole point of this is to see if LSD makes elephants angry.
Yeah, they're pretty much like, let's see if we can make Tusco go berserk with an LSD. They shoot him up with 297 milligrams of LSD, which is an astounding amount of LSD. They said if there was a man who weighed as much as Tusco the elephant, his dose, like the dose that he would take of LSD would be like around a third of what they gave Tusco.
So that's what animals typically have higher tolerances to drugs, like certain animals do. And so, but they went from like the weight to the tolerance level. They should have done a third of the dose, but instead they were just like, well, they didn't want to ruin the experiment by only having minor results.
Yeah.
So they
didn't want to pussyfoot it.
Like, we got to send this elephant to fucking Pluto.
Yeah. And man, did they.
And so they injected it directly into him, the 297 milligrams. And it pretty much killed him instantly.
Yeah. It sounds horribly agonizing. After 5 minutes, they said Tusco trumpeted, fell over, shitted all over the place, bit his tongue, and then he started laboring to breathe.
Yeah.
30 minutes later, they injected him with a gigantic dose of the antipsychotic Thorazine.
Yeah.
Which they also apparently gave him way more of that than they should have.
The amount of like backwoods fucking around in Oklahoma is the most Oklahoma science story I've ever heard. Where they inject them and he just immediately kills over. And there's like shit.
It's just that over. Oh no. Well.
Oh boy. I didn't think it could get worse. It seems like it's getting worse.
Yeah, like an hour after the Thorazine, they injected him with tranquilizers. Also, probably too many tranquilizers, and he died a few minutes after. It was an hour and 40 minutes in total. And yeah, they proved that elephants can't take 297 milligrams of LSD,
yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, they didn't really find anything out because then they couldn't even tell like what killed it.
Yeah.
Was it the acid? Was it the antipsychotic? Was it the other
drugs? And in fact, I read...
But it was probably the first thing that made it keel over and shit itself immediately.
Yeah. It couldn't have helped. It couldn't have helped.
I'm just imagining this elephant, they inject him for science. He keels over, shits, and then it's just like in those old movies, the record scratch. And it's just like they both like look up at the camera like, I bet you're wondering how we found ourselves here.
I like to think when he was first injected, before it all went bad, he heard the beginning to Cream's Sunshine of Your Love. You know, they always play that when people are doing acid.
Yeah.
Because he was going
I was thinking of
others.
Big Lebowski,
My condition was. That would also be a very good song to drug an elephant
Hey,
to.
Allie, you're not in the podcast today.
And then Allie is just Allie.
She's
Allie
like, give
wants,
me acid. I bet I could handle it better. Are
give
you
me
looking at the camera, you
297
bitch?
milligrams of acid right now.
Yeah, I'll do it. No, you can't.
I'll take that shit.
What's your game plan?
I'll do it.
Back
I'll
away.
go to fucking. I'll go to.
Get on the couch.
I'll go to fucking Hangout Festival and have a time.
But so because they didn't really find anything out, and it was kind of a stupid experiment,
Yeah.
they were like, all right, well, I guess we don't really know what killed it, but whoops.
But whoops, sorry everyone, sorry about and then about a group of school children showed up to the zoo and was like, "Where's Tusco?
Where's Tusco?"
And they were like, "Ugh."
It's time for more hijinks.
Then I read in
20 years
1984,
later, yeah,
1984, a psychologist named Ronald K. Siegel dosed 2 elephants with LSD only, and both of them lived more sensible doses.
So when
They
he
were
did
fine.
when he did his, he did similar dosing, but he didn't inject it. He put it in their water and they drank it on their own.
Hell yeah!
And then part of the experiment, because it went so bad with Tusco, the school had to agree to replace the elephants if they killed them. That was part of the contract.
Fair.
I like that they still weren't like, no, you can't stop asking to give our elephants acid.
They were just like, all right, but you better replace this
Yeah, I
elephant
better
if
get
you-
a new. They're probably rooting for it to die. They're like, we need some fresh elephants around here.
That elephant is beat up. That elephant has a lot of miles on it.
But so it might have been the route of injecting it directly into the system, because it was said these elephants, they acted sluggish, rocked back and forth, and made some strange vocalizations such as chirping and squeaking. But within a few hours, they returned back to normal.
Hell yeah. So just like a normal trip.
So it sounds like these elephants
They
just had an acid
They just
trip.
zoned out, watched Flaming Lips live at Red Rocks, and came back to Earth.
Did some weird chirping.
It's a good
They were
time.
just in a field, just like...
Yeah, the elephant later the next day was like, "Did I chirp yesterday? Did you hear that? That was
Dude, I
crazy."
can't. Why do we be chirping? That's crazy. And then this is one
Much more fun than Tusco. I mean,
Yeah, my next. Might be my favorite one just because it involves jerking off a dolphin.
sure.
And so we all got things we want to do in our lives, and
Yeah,
it might not be on my list, but
No,
I got a
yeah.
long life. It could get added.
it could.
But this is a story of Margaret Howe Lovett. Mm-hmm. And she had a wacky, crazy tale.
She was crazy for dolphins. This lady, she loved them.
She was wild for dolphins.
She was living on St. Thomas in the 1960s.
Yeah.
And she got a job at a dolphin research center.
The Dolphinarium.
Impressed everyone with her love and enthusiasm for dolphins.
And so
foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing. So this all started with John C. Lilly was a crazy guy, huge acid guy.
Yeah,
And he
loved
also was doing acid experiments on dolphins.
Yeah.
And this got NASA funding. And the goal of it was to see how we communicate with extraterrestrials when we come around them.
Yeah.
And so the game plan was to figure out how to make dolphins speak English.
You figure out how to talk to a dolphin, you figure out how to talk to an alien. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. It's the same.
And then the story ends with this random lady jerking off a dolphin. It's pretty much the plot of Dodgeball.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's very 60s. Yeah, and like everyone's on acid, but although I will say Margaret Howe was not on acid. She was very clear that like that Lily, she was like, you should keep your acid shit away from my completely above board jacking off dolphins project. She was not. She was like separate them, you know. But she lived in the Dolphinarium where they flooded. They made a habitat that was like a house that was flooded with like is it 2 feet of water, something like that, where the dolphin Peter, who I read was on the show Flipper. Actually, all the dolphins,
these 3 dolphins, the 2 females and Peter the male, were all on the original TV or after the TV movie in 1963. They're on the TV remake. The show Flipper.
Fucking star power. Flipper, where are they now? And they're like, you don't want to fuck.
They all had bad endings.
Once
they leave the Dolphinarium, they go to like a storage unit essentially, and it wasn't.
Yeah, Peter Peter was the main one. He was the only male, so he was the one getting cranked off. And the thing is,
Margaret wasn't a scientist.
I think I did know that. She
no,
just kind of showed up.
She had no formal training. She had no like degree in a science or field, but she came on as an observer, and she loved dolphins so much and took such exhaustive notes that like they were like, oh hey, you can stick around and do this,
Yeah, you're on the team.
Yeah.
You are clearly really committed to these dolphins. So they're living together. They're working together. She's trying to teach this dolphin to talk, Peter, while they're living together. But the thing about dolphins, and I don't think I understood this completely going in, dolphins are incredibly horny creatures.
Yeah.
They're horny as shit. They use sex as like socializing. It's they're fucking all the time, 8 to 10 times a day. They're very horny. So Peter would constantly he would enter adolescence, and then he was always getting horny while Margaret Howe was trying to teach him to talk. And she was mostly just opposed to the idea that they would have to stop their lesson every time
he needed to fuck.
Would get horny. So what is the best solution to this problem?
You jerk them off.
You start cranking that dolphin off.
So Margaret started cranking this dolphin off, and she said it wasn't sexual on my part, sensuous perhaps.
Yeah. Why did you add the second part? Why did you add?
You could have stopped it and said it was for science. Sensuous, maybe.
Yeah. That was the most like, oh well.
Again, she was not a scientist, and she was not paid to be here. She was a volunteer.
Yeah.
Which this is a red flag. This is starting to be like when a dude's volunteering to work at a daycare. Like you're like, hey,
don't know about this character.
How about no? Let's go ahead and not do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Margaret had a plan, and Margaret executed that plan perfectly.
Yeah.
And she got to jerk a dolphin off 10 times a day.
She got to beat a dolphin off to her heart's content.
I got the full what she said about it. And
hit us with that quote. It does not help.
It wasn't sexual on my part, sensuous perhaps. It seemed to me that it made the bond closer, not because of the sexual activity, but because of the lack of having to keep breaking. And that's really all it was. I was there to get to know Peter. That was part of Peter. It would just become part of what was going on, like an itch. Just get rid of that scratch, and we could be done and move on. That's what I try to tell my wife, am I right? Howdy, y'all.
Howdy, y'all. It doesn't help. I wish it did. And I feel like that she's a nice lady. But yeah.
Maybe a little too nice.
It doesn't it's crazy to me, and I'll tell you the craziest part of the whole story to me is eventually the Dolphinarium loses funding. They're like, y'all. I don't think y'all are making much progress in teaching
I do like
dolphins
a representative from NASA shows up one day and it's just like, what the fuck's going on here?
Whoa!
Y'all literally filled up a house with 3 feet of water and are jerking the dolphins off?
Because this is not. I gotta say,
no, we're trying to teach them to speak.
And he's like, all right. Wow.
In looking up stuff, I found there was a lot of experiments about trying to teach animals how to speak. And obviously, they didn't use parrots and things because they mimic.
Because parrots make it look too
easy.
I think it was they would discourage the other animals.
It was a sea otter or sea lion that they taught to say a few words.
Hell yeah.
And it sounds British.
The seal pool and have said the same things over and over again in greeting to him. They've said hello there and how are you, and in turn we think that Hoover, because he has heard these sounds so many times, has mimicked them back.
That is a sea lion at the London Zoo in 1912.
Yeah, just doing it.
Oh, terribly sorry, old chum. Yes. That's my sea lion voice.
Yes. Now we know how. If you ever want to do a sea lion impression,
he's a little upper class.
It changes all those kids' books when you hit a button and it says the animal sound.
Oh yeah,
and it gets to the otter and it's just like, good day.
Oh, cheerio,
cheerio. Now this one is
Oh yeah, wait. Happy ending though for
yeah.
Margaret Howe. Did you read about that? She
Oh, the
married
photographer?
the photographer who photographed all this sordid research project, and then this is the weirdest part to me.
They moved to the Dolphinarium.
into the Dolphinarium as their family
Yes.
home. The scene of her beating off that famous TV dolphin repeatedly, and then she starts a family. But I mean,
I
apparently
think they
were
had 3
happy.
kids and it went great. And yeah,
Well, hi, 'em, good.
God bless.
Good on you, Margaret Howe.
I do love the converting the Dolphinarium to a family home
Yeah,
and then
I don't
living in
know.
it. Yeah. Hey,
I don't know how
different strokes for different folks.
Feel about
Even
that.
Peter, am I right?
I would
Okay.
assume a deep cleaning was involved.
How do you get all the water out?
Yeah.
They just kept the bottom floor as a pool.
Yeah, they felt that was easiest.
This one was this is actually a human psychology experiment, but I thought it was a fun addition, and it happened at FSU.
And as you pointed out, humans are animals after all. So loophole, motherfuckers! It is animal research.
Boom. And they this was at FSU in the late 70s, so this might have been Bert Kreischer.
Seminoles.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, he's walking around partying with his shirt off.
Yeah. And so what they did was they wanted to see how people would react to random sexual advances, which again, late 70s.
Yeah.
This would be a little squirrelier
And the
nowadays.
guy was like, every guy would accept a sexual advance from a woman, and every woman would reject a sexual. Like he just said that kind of like at a conference of some sort, and everyone was like, I don't think that's true.
Yeah,
And
which is
so
the most obvious. He's generalizing.
He's generalizing,
But it's very obvious where so they have the students from this class do the test, and they go out to the around the quads. And I got the actual line. It wasn't like so overly aggressive.
yeah, and there were
Or like, "Hey, yo, mom, what that thing do?" You know?
yeah. Hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear, tell you a bunch of things that you like to hear.
So they go, "I have been noticing you around campus. I find you to be attractive. Would you go to bed with me tonight?"
Yeah,
That's what they said. And they found that 75% of men said yes. And, and of those that said no, they felt like they needed to share an excuse. Like they would go, "I'm married," and then 0 women responded positively.
Yeah.
Like it was mostly like, "Get the hell away from me." It's like, you know how women can be, they're like, "Stop following me. Like I'm calling the police."
They're like, I'm just minding my own business, trying to go to class, and you're like, I'm doing science.
It's like, "No, I've noticed you. And I like what I see. Would you go to bed with me?" It's like those videos of pranksters on TikTok getting beaten up, where at the end they're like, "It's a prank, it's a prank."
Yeah, always.
This is just like, "It's for a class, it's for a class. I'm not a
Yeah.
creep. I'm not a creep."
Do you remember that old internet video of the kid that was hiding in like the recycling bin, and he popped out in
And the
like a
guy
Halloween
punched
mask,
him.
and the guy
Yes.
punches him?
Tyrone?
Are you going trick or treating?
No, probably.
Hilarious.
Hilarious.
I do love the male confidence to believe this isn't how male female sexual dynamics work.
Yeah. To be like,
I like to think also happily married.
this is a chance I gotta take. That's what they're thinking.
I am a happily married man, but I also think that if a lady approached me and it was just like, "I like the cut of your jib," it's like, "You mind if I suck your dick?" I'd be like, "This is a trap."
Yes, thank you. I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
I was like, I would be so certain I was gonna be robbed and or murdered.
Yes.
Like, let me go. You want to go to a seedy motel, and then there's a big Albanian man hiding behind the door.
Yeah, never
That's your
good.
game. The old Albanian behind the door trick.
The albino Albanian.
The
gonna take me for
albino
all I'm worth.
Albanian behind the.
I do. It does
didn't know.
take the confidence of a man to be like, "I figured this would happen more."
I have been lifting.
I'm shocked this isn't the first time. This is the first time that I've been propositioned like this. Yes, ma'am, I will go to bed with you. Thank you for asking.
Some guy just broke out his new fedora that morning and went outside. And the first woman's like, would you like to go to, and he's like, fuck yeah, I knew it. I knew the fedora. And then he finds
now he'll
out
never not have a fedora on.
Yeah. Oh.
Did you have one about like a orangutan guy? What was him?
Poor fedora wearers. They're all. Oh yes, I did. One more thing about that one though. I did learn. It was funny to me their struggle to get the study published. Nobody wanted to publish. It was originally by this guy Russell Clark from Florida State. And it was rejected by everyone. Everyone in the scientific journal community hated it, and we're like, "This is the dumbest shit we've ever read."
Why did you do this? It's like Billy Madison. It's like everyone here is now dumber for having listened to this.
And may God have mercy on our souls. One reviewer said, apart from the rather comical nature and situations, there is no value to this study. This paper should be rejected without possibility of being submitted to any scholarly journal. So pretty much, the Billy Madison speech. But they kept, eventually he brought in this lady, Hatfield. She was a professor at the University of Wisconsin, and they kept submitting. In 1988, it was published by the Journal of Psychology and Human Sexuality. Had this great quote by Hatfield in here. The reviewers were not enthusiastic, but they were willing to publish. So a happy ending for this terrible study.
That's the happiest ending we could imagine.
Yeah. And I like that she's like very honest about they weren't psyched about it. Don't get me wrong, but
it was a slow psychology week. We needed to print something. It's like
slow psychology week.
Just keep pumping it out there.
Wasn't a lot going on.
No.
I also had one about this Russian Soviet biologist named Ilya Ivanov. Very Chekhov ass name.
Yeah.
Ilya Ivanov. What
was that word you used?
Chekhov ass.
What does that mean?
Like Chekhov, the writer.
Yeah.
Hyphen ass. It's very Chekhov.
Okay.
But he specialized in artificial insemination. He's one of these guys who's like a genius and then went past the mark a little. Because he
was like our underwater eyeglass guy. What was that?
Oh, yes, exactly. He was so he did artificial insemination and horse breeding, which revolutionized horse breeding, made it much more efficient. He's like a genius. Then in 1910, this is
I must now make a chimera.
Yes, exactly. He decides he's going to turn his attention to making an Ape-Man.
Yeah.
So in 1910, he gave a lecture to the World Congress of Zoologists in Graz, Austria, about the possibility of making a human-ape hybrid, a humanzi, if you will.
A orangutan.
Orangutan. Exactly. Then in the 1920s, he went to French Guinea and actually started trying to make this happen. 3 female chimpanzees were injected with, inseminated with human sperm. No pregnancies. Unfortunately, no humanzies. And then
humanzies. And then switched it.
And then he returned to the Soviet Union in 1929, and he's thinking, all right, but what if we flip the script, inject human women with chimpanzee?
I think it was an orangutan.
With orangutan cum.
You're saying insemination.
I kept it so sciencey all the way through, and then fucked it up right at the end.
Just an orangutan cum.
But so they're going to use orangutan jizz.
Yeah.
And they were going to put it in human women.
They're inseminating it. They're not letting these tangs get some tang,
Yeah, it's all very above board. They're using basters. They're using basters and super soakers. It's not it's very medical.
A super soaker full of orangutan cum.
Science, biology grade super soakers. But so he returned to the Soviet Union in 1929 with designs on trying out this new way of making his humanzi. But instead, he was arrested and sent to Kazakhstan, where he lived until he died 3 years later of a broken heart. from never having seen an Ape-Man.
Yeah. There was a funny part in his story where the orangutan cum doesn't take. So he inseminates these ladies with the orangutan semen, and it doesn't take. And then his last orangutan dies. And like the Soviet Union won't give him any more orangutans.
Yeah.
They were just like, hey, your last orangutan died. That's it for the study.
Yeah.
And he's just like, can I have more? There's more orangutans. And they're like, you've had enough.
You've had enough orangutans, Ilya.
Yeah.
We're not giving you any more orangutans.
But yeah, so there goes the animal researchers gone wild.
Ape-Man.
Yeah, God bless them.
Yeah, very funny. Good times. Bonus shout out to Charles Darwin, who, following his research on the HMS Beagle and the origin of species, his hit, he came back and turned his attention to earthworms. He dug up his garden of earthworms and put them all on a pool table and then did experiments to them, like shining lights at them and blowing smoke at them and having his son play the bassoon at them.
I see a lot of meth heads at work.
And then
And this feels like meth head behavior where you dig up your yard, you put it on a table, and then you're like, I'm doing experiments. And it's like, it sounds like you're blowing a horn at the pile of dirt on your kitchen table. And he's like, it's for science.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, guy.
Yeah, that's another. You got to wonder if his son was like, you want me to play the bassoon for the
worms?
The worms on the pool table?
Yeah. And
Right.
his conclusion was earthworms can't hear because they didn't like the bassoon.
Yeah. Yeah, and he actually learned a lot about earthworms from having him on his pool table. He published a book called The Formation of Vegetable Mold Through the Action of Worms, which was actually a hit.
Don't call Charles Darwin a one-hit wonder, okay?
It outsold Origin of Species for
Really?
him. They think because the English people love gardening so much,
Oh, yeah.
and it was a lot to do with like
Gardening.
Yeah.
That makes
Aeration of soil and the lot.
He wrote a very good scientific book, and then he did a home and garden one.
Yeah.
And the home and garden's going to sell better, baby. You know?
Yeah.
Do a pop psych book, make it understandable.
That's right.
Yeah. Make it
One for
approachable.
them, one for you.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
The one for him was definitely the worms. He loved those little guys.
I had a thought where we were coming up with podcast topics to do, and I really wanted to do. It's more of just a joke now. It could be a sketch, but we don't make sketches, so I'm going to say it here.
Yeah.
To do the biggest draft busts in history, and have the first person be like Ryan Leaf, and then Jamarcus Russell, big NFL draft busts. And then have the next guy be a Vietnam vet that committed war crimes.
Yeah.
And what a draft bust.
Yeah. Or like died in a training exercise. That's kind of darker, I guess. Like this guy never even played a snap
Exactly.
for the United States Army.
For the U of SMC.
A little dark, but I like it. You know, I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I think it's a good time.
I did the stand-up standoff a couple last week.
Oh yeah, good times. Again, shout out Parker,
Our
old pal.
Had a blast doing it. I did it with Andy Franklin. You know, good friend of the
Andy,
pod,
of course,
Andy Franklin. Now, Andy's dumbass didn't really prepare that much, which we were given writer's packets for this show, and out of respect, and you want to have a good time, you work on it a little bit.
Sure.
And I wrote, because I knew Andy was going to be on it, probably 30 your mama jokes about Andy's mom.
Nice.
And I came out of the gate with them. It got a good reaction, and I was like, good. Because it was just banging her, eating her out. It was aggressive the entire time about me just banging Andy's mom. And Andy didn't prepare jokes for the thing. He didn't prepare for a roast.
Oh no.
And the crowd loved it. And I haven't seen him rattled. He totally fell apart. Stefan was on the show as well, and he did great. But then and Stefan's very gay, like flamboyantly gay. And he started making jokes about banging Andy's mom too.
Oh my god.
I don't think Andy got a laugh the entire night. He was just the whipping boy.
Does Andy now have a vendetta against you?
I think so. Because another comedian from Austin saw Philip Garcia saw Andy at a show or something. And Phil sent me a picture of Andy looking sad at a bar. And he was like, Andy told me about the show.
Oh my god. Dude. That's brutal.
Like, they're just your mom jokes. I don't really mean it.
Yeah. Not really sexing anyone's mom.
Yeah.
Not for real.
I'm not really banging your mom, Andy. Yeah.
The winks were...
Thank you.
I like that.
I had one joke
That's a
that
good touch.
didn't get a laugh because you had to like roast holidays in like a Western theme.
Yeah.
It got a little shaky for a second, but there was Yule, and I didn't know what Yule was.
Yeah.
So I had to look it up, like the Yule log, Yule tide. It's like the Germanic one.
Yeah. Okay.
And so
I don't think I know what that is either.
Yeah, but
I
for
know
the
the
one,
word,
I know
but-
like Yule log. Mm-hmm. But the crowd didn't really know that either.
Yeah.
And so the one beforehand, after like 20 me banging Andy's mom jokes, I went, hey, in the spirit of the holiday, I would like to apologize. Like, these are all just jokes. I really don't mean this. Andy's a good friend, yada, yada, yada. And then the next slide popped up was Yule. And I just hit the buzzer and go, the only Yule log I'm dragging around is to Andy's mom's house. And yeah, it was, I was reaching. So I was disappointed that didn't go well, but I twerked.
I can't believe it didn't.
I twerked.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
It's called running out of shit to say. And then just being like, we're going to do a physical comedy now.
Oh yeah, I did that. I didn't know. I didn't know that we would just the last section where
Was it the
we were
act out
just
thing?
trying to make each other laugh, me and Kane, and I had nothing for it. I did a couple poses, and then I wasn't thinking about it and laughed at something he did, not trying, like, you know. And then I was like, oh shit! I was just trying to be a good sport, you know. No, but I was defeated. I had nothing in that round. Is my point. I because we went to that round. I had written everything, you know, and I had written my jokes, and then it's like, all right, do something, and I'm like,
no.
I
think Kane wins.
Yeah,
they did a fun. It was kind of like a Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Where there was like a
fun
Jeopardy
show.
style thing, where they asked like we all wrote punchlines to these things beforehand, and then you draw them out of a hat, and then you have to read the best punchline for the thing. That's how you get the points. And for my punchlines, I wrote the Jews 6 different times. So there'd be a lot of them in the bag. I have some higher brow stuff. I can work clean. I know this story is making me sound like a dumb.
You were being a cut up.
I was being a kermuffin or something. Yeah,
That's
it was all just
hilarious.
banging Andy's mom and Jew jokes. So
Fair.
It was a blast though.
That's a good time.
Yeah. But,
I did that New Year's show at
the Cowabunga one.
the Cowabunga one at the Fillmore.
Yeah.
And I did my set blast. I love those shows. They're so much fun. I did my set and walked outside, and there was a big commotion going on. There was like a cop car, so I just walked down the street a little, and there was a wreck. There was a car like totally upside down sitting in the middle of the row, and then another car with like a fucked up front end.
Yeah.
It was very crazy to walk out and see. And I walked back, and everyone, I kept telling people would be like, what's going on? And I'd tell them about the wreck, and they'd go, but the speed limit's like 30 here. How do they get...
People, we had an extrication on like a side street the other day where we'd like do they call them Jaws of Life. Everyone knows, but we have the E-Hurst, the E-Hydraulics that Hearst makes, but
not as good of a name.
not as good of a name.
You gotta
Not
come
as
up
catchy.
with
I always laughed at the Jaws of Life.
Yeah, it's so
like that was a
dramatic.
fireman that named it.
Yeah.
Like, what should we call this? Hydraulic tool.
The Jaws of Life. Everyone's like, Rick, can you
Yeah.
calm down with
no,
the gravitas for
That's what
one
we're
day?
doing. Yeah. It's a great name. But yeah, like how do you generate the force in a vehicle on like literally just a neighborhood street? We had one lady dislocated her hip. That was bad.
That sounds not fun.
It was a few districts away from us, but it was on the radio and like it was a wreck on a side street. So they just send an engine to it because unless it's on like a street with like higher speed limits, they just send an engine to go, which the engine can check people out and block for traffic and make sure everything's safe. And then they requested 4 ambulances and you're like, ooh, okay. So you're expecting the first 2 or 3 to be seriously critical people that you got to go. And then there's gonna be 1 or 2 just first aid type situations. But they were like 3 of them were fucked up.
Oof.
But Yeah, that was yesterday.
Yeah. All right. Well, and it's we're staring down the barrel of Snowpocalypse 2025.
I think we're gonna make it.
We're here in Dallas. We're being forecasted 1 to 4 inches of snow on Thursday night. People are losing their shit. I shoved an old man at Costco for a toilet paper pallet.
Dude, the grocery stores are wild. That things are going off the shelf. It's not even going to be below freezing for more than 12 hours at a time.
Yeah.
It's an overreaction. But
And why is the toilet paper the first thing to go?
I don't know.
Do you
just
also
take a shower?
Just take a shower. Yeah.
Just get your fingers a little dirty, rinse them off.
Yeah.
I mean,
come on. You know,
be adults.
Come
I
on.
had another funny thing at work. Did I tell you the story about the lady who lost her food outside a nursing home?
No.
We make a run to a nursing home, and it's a bad one, which there are terrible nursing homes, especially in the hood.
Oh yeah, you've told me this. It's a very unnerving thing to hear.
Oh yeah, they'll do so they get it's a bad for their rating if people die on premises, which you go to a nursing home to go die.
Sure.
Or the assisted living, end of care, but so they'll call us, the ambulance, to come for a CPR, and they'll be like, we talked to them 15 minutes ago at breakfast. We came in to check on them, found them pulseless, started compressions. And so then we walk in and you go to take over compressions, and this person is ice cold.
It's a mummy.
With just rigored out the entire, and this person's been dead for 6 hours. And they're like, oh, talk to him at 9:30.
That's crazy.
And you're like, oh,
maybe they're just fast developing.
Exactly.
In death.
That's what it is. No, there's all sorts, and it's kind of sad. Don't be poor when you die is the lesson here, or
at any time.
Yeah, it's just never be poor. Yeah, or kill yourself. You got options.
Yeah.
Oh, but so we made a call there. It was at night, and this lady was yelling and screaming, just a good old fashioned black lady freak out, and she worked there. But she was screaming at everyone, just cursing up a storm. I'm trying to talk to a patient with a nurse, and she's throwing shit in the hallway. And what had happened was she had a bag of food to take home, had stepped outside the building, and it's all badges and locked doors. And she set down her bag of food, and there was another lady out there, and she goes, "Oh, I left something inside. Will you watch my food for me?" And she goes, "Okay." And then the lady goes back inside. And when she returns, 2 pit bulls had emerged from the parking lot and had eaten all of her food. And she was screaming at the other lady.
Oh no!
For not protecting her food
against 2 pit bulls. That's a tall ask.
Hey, random lady, will you watch this food for me? And in the case of 2 pit bulls seeing it, I want you to fight them to the death.
Yep. That goes without saying. Anytime I've ever agreed to watch anything for another person, it's unspoken, but there's a caveat that
if I have to do anything,
if I have to confront 2 pit bulls in any way while
it's gone.
It's yeah. I'm throwing it at them, running away, running the opposite direction.
You got any stuff going on?
I came across a new cereal called Frosted Flakes Glazed Donut Holes cereal.
That's a tall order.
I saw these at Walmart, and I thought, well, these will immediately and significantly improve my life.
Yep.
Of course, but they really haven't. All right.
What a sad thought.
Did you watch a second season of Squid Game yet?
I watched the first one.
It's awesome.
My wife wasn't into it at all. I've never seen someone more apathetic towards a show. Because I watched it and was like, this is pretty good.
That's great.
And
yeah,
so
I wasn't.
I went and rewatched
it
it with her, and she was just like, I don't care.
It took me a minute. I wasn't super into it. I don't think right away, but I got sucked in. But season 2 is really good. There was an editing blunder I was reading about where they left one of the cameramen in one of the shots.
Oh yeah,
in like a crucial scene.
That'd be fun to see.
Yeah, it's a good time. I also wanted to announce my upcoming. I was gonna put on a stage show, at Pocket Sandwich Theater. It was gonna be the contest episode of Seinfeld, but done with an all rhesus monkey cast. but I've had to cancel that due to the rhesus monkey's complete inability to stop jacking off for even 5 minutes.
It's a goddamn shame.
Of all the Seinfelds to do with rhesus monkeys, that's not the one. That is not the one to do, and that's my bad. So, but you'll be able to get refunds through the box office. And I apologize.
Just email the website. We'll figure it out.
I was flying too close to the sun with that one.
It's
That's
good.
what it was.
Let's see. I got I'll be at Big Laugh Comedy Club tonight, which you can't go to. I'll be featuring for Erica Rhodes at Rose City Comedy next Saturday.
Hell yeah.
Then I will be Hyenas Fort Worth 325 on January 23rd. I'm doing the Plano Mic Drop Showcase for, I guess they got bookers coming from out of town.
Nice.
And then, I'll be at Dallas Hyenas January 30th. Check out JimmyNelsonComedy.com for all dates and tickets and stuff.
Oh, yeah. That 23rd show, is that Fort Worth or Dallas?
Ooh, let me check. I think Fort Worth.
I'm in Fort Worth.
Ooh, we're on that together. January 23rd,
January 23rd.
Oddball History.
Oddball History on a
Performs
325. Blah, 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 blah.
Blah, blah, blah. Any closing thoughts?
The Mavericks had a great dub last night without Luka or Kyrie or Daniel Gafford. I'm proud of the boys.
It was on TV
I'm proud
at
of the
the
boys.
fire station, and I remember I don't follow basketball at all, and I was like, "Who the fuck are these guys?" I didn't know.
Well, and
I used to know the Stars and a couple people,
and the Lakers. The Lakers look like, aside from Anthony Davis and LeBron, they just traded D'Angelo Russell, who is another one of their identifiable people on that team. So I'm in the same. I'm like,
I don't know anyone on the TV right now.
I always remember, who's that guy for them, Christie? I always totally forget he exists. And then, I don't know.
Well, there you go.
But anyway, go Mavs.
There's very little basketball news happening on the podcast.
That's right.
Well, with that, we'll see y'all for the next episode.
That's right.
Yep.
Come on back now. You heard? You hear?
Howdy, y'all.
Howdy, y'all.
Hail Satan. All right.
Jimmy and Scott digging through the past. Crazy tales they uncover fast. History stranger than you think. They'll also talk about wieners in a blink. They'll talk about wieners in a blink. Oddball history.